everybody, it is Kristina, and today I am doing a life purpose reading for Virgo. It's very hot in the house, and it is August already, hard to believe. This summer, I decided to do a life purpose reading for every zodiac sign, and today I am doing Virgo. I made some notes for myself, so I will have to look away every so often because I don't want to mislead you, give you the wrong information, Virgo. So if you're a Virgo, you were born between August 23rd and September 22nd. And typically you're a very analytical person. Like, I feel you'd be really good with numbers, math, crunching, numbers and doing technical stuff. So maybe like a career in programming, like computer programming, would be up your alley. Or working with numbers, like an accountant or so forth. I feel you're very practical, and you're smart. You tend to be overly critical of yourselves, and sometimes of others too. You're a perfectionist. You worry a lot. You have high standards for yourself, for others. And, this may not apply to all the Virgos out there, but it's just an overall snapshot of your personality. You're very attentive, you're detail-oriented. You like to get things right, which goes back to being a perfectionist. You just like to dot all your I's and cross your T's and so forth. And make sure just everything is just so, because Virgos tend to be really fussy about things. And you're hardworking. You will just stay all night if you have to finish that project. When everyone has gone home for the day, Virgo person just won't mind staying put for the next 5 hours or so, well into the evening, and get that project finished. And you're very good with planning. Like, you can plan out your whole life. A lot of people, myself included, I can't plan. I'm not very good at planning. I get stressed out when I have to plan something. But Virgo people, you can really just roll up your sleeves and get down to business and map out every detail of the future, and you'd be excellent at doing that too. You're just really good with planning. And my dogs are barking. And but anyway, I'm going to get right into the reading and pull the cards, because that's probably a lot more interesting than just hearing me talk about your personality. So I pulled the builder card, which goes kind of into planning, because if you're building a house or building a computer or building anything, you have to really be detail oriented. You got to be good. You got to be attention to details, and you gotta be an excellent planner. Because you can't just build a house and not know what the hell you're doing. That house would not stand at all. Everything would just fall apart if you didn't know what you were doing when you're trying to build that house. But this card applies to Virgos very well, with planning, being detail oriented, perfectionist. You could build a house, you could build a computer, you could just build about anything you set your mind to, and you'd be excellent at it. It says your innate ability to build and create brings you a deep sense of accomplishment. So this goes back to just, being really detail-oriented, being perfectionist. I'm not saying that Virgos have to go out and build houses, but you're just really good with planning and just setting forth plans and things into motion. You're just, you'd be good at starting up a business, getting the business off the ground, because that takes planning. It takes a lot of hard work and details, right? So Virgos like the details. So that's something for you to consider. And this kind of goes into higher education, school. The Virgos are very detail-oriented. They like to analyze, which goes into like programming, computers, technical stuff, high-tech things, learning technology, which typically requires going to school, learning a trade, taking courses, learning computer languages. So this card says the answer that you're seeking involves going to school. So, if you want to learn analytical stuff that kind of requires technology, which goes hand in hand with taking courses. So this card just says, consider your options, and maybe that you need to find your career by going back to school and learning some new skills. And I got talk to your angels, because Virgos tend to be very critical, perfectionists. They worry, they're fussy, they put too much pressure on themselves, maybe other people as well. And this card says, instead of worrying, ask for divine guidance. If you feel like you're just not living up to what you should be doing, ask your angels, ask spirit guide, ask your higher powers, whatever you believe in, ask them for guidance. Because, life isn't perfect. It's just not perfect. And so being a perfectionist, just, you're just setting yourself up for failure, because you're going to fall flat. You're not going to be perfect. There's no such thing. Human beings cannot be perfect. It's just how it is. Only God can be perfect. And so this card just says, pretty much don't worry too much if you don't have to. Just ask the higher powers ask them to take some of your pressure away from you, and so you don't have to stress out and stress everyone else out around you. So just take a chill pill and meditate and whatever, and everything will work out in the long run. And light and love. I got this card. I think everyone should bring light and love into the universe. Light and love is a lot better than being dark, and nasty, and just bringing ugliness into the universe. That's just not very, very pretty. But this says your purpose is to bring divine healing light and love to this world. So, Virgo is very helpful. They are very kind to people when they're not overly stressing and worrying. They like to just lend a hand, give advice, and tell you what needs to be done, what you should do to better things, better situation. They make good counselors, advisors. I want to say like professors. I don't feel a Virgo would be very good in a preschool setting, because Virgos are kind of perfectionist, and little kids just aren't going to be perfect. So it could kind of annoy the Virgo, perhaps. I'm just saying, like, maybe. You know yourself better than I do. I'm just an empath reader, but I feel like, the Virgo would be a better professor than, an elementary school teacher. But anyway, this card just says, just bring light and love. Like, whatever you're doing for a career or for a job, even if you're just being a waitress or you're waiting on people, at a convenience store, just be friendly, helpful, and be kind. And don't bring nastiness to the table, when you can be just nice and loving. It makes someone's day just so much brighter, just by being yourself and true to your core. And children, I got this card. It says your life purpose involves helping, teaching, and healing children. Well, I just don't think that the Virgo would be very happy with kids, but this card kind of contradicts that. So just take it as you will. Like, if you feel you're excellent with children, fine. You know yourself better than I do, but I think that a true Virgo would be better off with older youth, like maybe in a high school or even a college, because they're more fussy. The Virgo people, they're fussy. They're warriors. They tend to just stress out and be overly critical. And I don't think that would be a good setting to work in a little preschool or elementary school if you're that kind of person who just stresses out all the time and is overly critical and fussy, and but you know yourself, so just go deep within yourself and find out what makes you happy. And if you love kids, if you can overlook the fact that they're messy and they're noisy and they get sometimes dirty, if you can overlook that, then fine, go work in that preschool or elementary school. Be the healer for the kids, be the inspiration that they need to learn and grow as people. So, and I got leadership, and so I think that the Virgo makes excellent leaders. They're very analytical, which yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're really good planners, and a leader has to be a good planner. You just don't just jump into the fire, so to say, and do things. Like, you pretty much have to know what you're doing before you do it, if that makes any sense. You have to map out what you're going to do. If you take over a business, like if you're a CEO or something, you just don't just jump into that role. You've got to know what it takes to be an excellent CEO of something, to make that company grow and make profits. And I think the Virgo, they're excellent planners. They can map out the little details that most of us tend to overlook, and that goes back to being a good leader. Followers who just tend to not be so fussy and critical and perfectionist, they can look up to you, Virgo, if you're this kind of person who can just map out every detail, and figure things out, and know what it takes to be an excellent leader for other people to be inspired by. And I pulled the yoga card, and I think that this says that Virgo, you really, really need to take some time out for yourself. You tend to be perfectionist, overly critical. You tend to just worry a lot, and you just bring stress on yourself. And this card says, your life is enhanced by yoga, stretching, and exercising. And I think this card just really just says, okay, Virgo, just take some downtime. Don't be so perfect, or don't try to be so perfect all the time. Just sit in your space, talk to your spirit guides if you feel drawn to do that. And just take a few moments just to decompress and chill out and realize that life is not perfect. It's messy, you can't cross every T's, you can't dot every I, and it's okay to just be truthful to yourself. Just be, the person that you're meant to be. Just be you, basically. So this card just says, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be hard on other people. Don't be, the person that just number crunches all the time and tries to get things done all the time. Because that's just that's setting yourself up for a heart attack, to be honest. It's setting up yourself up for a stressful life and not very happy life, because we all need to balance work and play. And I think this card just really wants you to play a little more. So, and if you're drawn to playing a little more and working a little less, then go ahead and do that. It's fine if you just want to play a little more and work a little less. No one says you can't do that. So only you know what you're meant to do with your time and your day. So manage yourself the best way you can. Balance out life, balance out play, and just be, truthful to yourself. And I think this goes with every sign, not just the Virgo people. We all tend to sometimes be people that we're not. We're sometimes meant to be people pleasers, but we really just have to work on pleasing ourselves and doing what we want, because our soul tends to die when we're not honoring our soul purpose, when we're not doing what we're called to do. I never got into readings. I never got into my life purpose, into my heart failure diagnosis about 5, 6 years ago, maybe. I just was not on a very deep path. I was not on a spiritual path. I was not honoring my purpose, and my soul was dying inside. And as a result of my soul dying, my body was starting to die, and my heart was lazy. I mean, that's what the doctor said. My heart was lazy, didn't want to work. And it's because I was just so miserable in life, and I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I was just doing what everyone else wanted to do. And I am not a Virgo by any means. I'm a Scorpio, and but I'm a perfectionist. And my life was far from perfect. My health was far from perfect, and I was forced to go to my inner God, my soul, and just to, try to repair everything that had fallen apart. And sometimes, Virgo and everyone else who's listening and watching, sometimes, when your life falls apart, the only thing you can do is go deep within your soul and ask your God, or whoever you believe in, ask Source for help. Because, we're not perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. We're meant to struggle. We're meant to be overwhelmed. Because when we're feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and we think we can't go on, that's when we turn to Source to get help. Because there's nothing left for us to do. We have to get help from Divine. So, I hope you enjoyed that little insight in that reading, and you take away from it what you will. And it is August, and I am very hot and kind of sweaty, so it's not a perfect reading, but I did the best I could. And I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks. Bye.